choosing the right cards in the right order for your habits can really boost the value you get back for your spend, earning you hundreds if not thousands of dollars more from points and rewards. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Well, maybe it's not that serious with credit cards, but here is my credit card plan for this year for a millennial in his late 20s with a focus on travel. Now, I've never been the type to be really strict about my credit card plans to the point of getting a new card every 3 months or downgrading old cards in order to get them again for the bonus. Over the last 5 years, I've only gone through 7 or 8 cards, which is a lot fewer than some others out there getting 30, 40, or even 50 cards. But even then, I've been able to accumulate over 1 million points and miles, which I used a lot of to book some major travels this year, where I spent just under 250,000 points to book 2 round-trip business class flights from here to Taiwan and Japan, or another 4 to 450,000 points booking 3 business class tickets from here to Singapore, Korea, and Japan. So you can take it slow, stick to the basics, and still get a ton of value from using these credit cards. The most important thing is to get the cards that fit your spending and your lifestyle. No use getting the American Express Platinum card when you're only going to be spending a couple $100s every month on the card. It just doesn't make sense. And so for myself, this year I'm trying to really plan out my strategy, A, because of some major travel events coming up, and B, because I've burned through 3/4 of my points balance. Because looking back to 2022, it was a pretty uneventful year for opening new credit cards for myself. First, because I got the Capital One Venture X card in November of 2021, I still had to hit the minimum spend going into the first couple months of 2022. Because at launch, the card came with a whopping 100,000 point sign-up bonus when you hit $10,000 of spend in the first 6 months, along with a couple $100 of vacation credit in the first year. Then, because I was entering into my 4th year with the American Express Platinum card, I asked for a retention offer early in 2022 and got it, which meant that I needed to spend $4,000 in the next 3 months in order to get 55,000 membership reward points. Now, because I value membership reward points at about 2 cents per point, that's $1,100 worth of value, so of course I took the offer. Honestly, it was pretty hard to hit both bonuses in the early half of 2022, but here are some tips to hit minimum spends. First, you can pay for the bill when you're out with friends and then have them pay you back later. At least in my circle of friends, most people don't mind. It just means that I have to calculate how much each person has to pay me back. Second, prepay any expenses that you might have, like insurance, subscriptions that you use, car payments, or anything else that you can front load the cost of. And third, only get new cards around times of heavy spending. For me, that's timing it around holiday seasons, when I'm buying a new phone, or when I'm helping friends and family buy new electronics. And then the one new card I got towards the end of last year was my first business card, the Chase Inc. Unlimited, which completes the other version of the Chase trifecta. Now, I did a whole video about it, which you can watch up there, but it required a $7,500 spend in 3 months, which at the time only gave 60,000 points, but more recently has been bumped up to 90,000 Chase points. Again, I timed it around the holiday season, as well as buying some new equipment for this YouTube side business. Overall, in the last year, I only got one new card, which is my business card, as well as hitting some major minimum spends on cards like the Capital One Venture X and the American Express Platinum card's retention offer. With that said, there are some key travel plans for this year. So now let's go through which credit cards I'm planning on adding. Now, it's commonly said that Chase points are one of, if not the most valuable points across all different credit cards. And because I'm way under the 524 rule, in fact, I'm probably only 1 or 2 new cards in the last 2 years, I have a ton of room for new new Chase cards. On top of that, I got my Chase Sapphire Preferred card back in September of 2017. I even have the old design, which is kind of peeling, but that means I'm due for the 48-month window between Sapphire bonuses. So my plan this year for Chase cards is to keep an eye out for elevated bonuses on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, which has historically gone as high as 80,000 points or even 100,000 points. When that happens, I'll look to downgrade my Chase Sapphire Preferred into one of the Freedom cards so I can preserve my credit history, and then wait a while before signing up for the new Preferred in order to trigger the bonus again. If no elevated bonuses come up, I may still consider getting it at 60,000 points in order to start the clock for the next 48 months. I'll also consider the Chase Sapphire Reserve if it ever gets refreshed, because as it currently stands, it doesn't fit my setup, and I already have the Venture X and the Platinum cards as my premium cards. But in general, I think it's important to have a Sapphire card in my wallet, because then it'll unlock higher value for my Chase points across all my Chase cards. Because not only will it let me redeem my Chase points at 1.25 cents per point when I'm booking travel through their portal, but it lets me transfer Chase points out to travel partners where you can redeem for upwards of 2 cents per point. Meaning the 5 times points on my Freedom Flex is more like getting 10% cash back, and my 1.5 times points on my Unlimited is more like getting 3% cash back when I'm using my points in this way. The Sapphire Preferred also gives me Dash Pass, which I use really often, as well as credit across GoPuff and Instacart if I choose to use them, as well as saving $20 to $30 per day for primary car rental insurance. There's also a $50 statement credit when you're booking hotels through the portal, as well as categories like 2 times on general travel and 3 times on dining, which are 2 categories I use the most on. And for a $95 a year card, I think it's worth it to keep open given all of its perks, as well as unlocking higher value for my Chase points across all of my Chase cards. Now, that's the main Chase card that I want to get, but because I'm at about 224, I should probably add other Chase cards this year, like maybe the Freedom Unlimited to get the 20,000 point bonus, as well as 5 times points on my grocery spend in the next year, or the World of Hyatt card that we'll talk more about later in this video. But enough about Chase cards. The other ecosystem I think is second only to Chase is American Express, and because I already have the American Express Platinum card, which I do not plan on canceling anytime soon, the card that I should get to boost my American Express points is the Amex Gold. Honestly, I don't know why I don't already have this card, given it fills some major gaps in my setup, like giving me 4 times points when I'm spending at restaurants worldwide and groceries up to a limit every year. Those are some major elevated points for 2 categories I spend a lot in. Having restaurants around the world qualify is even better, because I already go to Canada a lot and eat at restaurants there, but also having upcoming trips to places like Singapore, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan, you know I'm gonna eat a ton, which would make this card a true workhorse during that time. But even without my trip, the Amex Gold will likely be a keeper card for me that I have in my wallet, because 1, I'll finally have an Amex card that I can use day to day to help regain my stash of Amex points. There is a lot of overlap for travel partners between Chase and American Express, but one standout partner that Chase doesn't have is ANA, and I could definitely see myself wanting to fly ANA over to Japan for just 75,000 points in business, especially with their new The Room business class seats. And 2, even though the annual fee is $250, there's 2 major credits to offset that cost. There's the $10 a month to select places, which I'll probably use at either Shake Shack, Grubhub, or get cookies from the Milk Bar, as well as the $10 a month to Uber Cash, which will be gone in like the first week given I take Uber rides monthly. Which means between the 2 credits, that drops the effective annual fee to just $10 a year. And paying $10 a year to have some awesome elevated categories, as well as sign-up bonuses as high as 75,000 points with $250 back from restaurant spend, it's one powerhouse of a card that I can't wait to get in my wallet. Now, the next card I want to get hasn't been chosen exactly yet and will have to depend on what offers are available, but that would be a dedicated hotel card. Like I said, I'll be traveling a ton in some cities in Asia this year, which total over a month of travel. And so while I'm looking for hotels, I'll have to decide which hotel chain and therefore which hotel cards are best suited for my use case. For one, elite status means a lot more internationally than it does here in the US, because most international cards don't offer perks nearly as great as US-based cards, meaning statuses like the Hilton Diamond from the Hilton Aspire card or Marriott Platinum Elite from the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant cards are two that I'm strongly considering. Because on the Hilton Aspire, I'll already get a free night stay on my first year with a card with no real limitations, which would be worth at least $200-300 already. Then if I'm staying at certain Hilton properties, I can get the $250 resort credit or the $100 property credits. Whereas on the Marriott Brilliant card, I'm only getting the free night stay after my anniversary with the card, so not in the first year, and credit for dining spread throughout the year instead of a free night. That said, I'm very slightly leaning towards the Hilton Aspire because of its top of the line status provides, and my work sometimes offers Marriott Platinum challenges already. But I'll have to look at the available hotels from both chains in the cities I'm going to before I decide. Then there's the option of the World of Hyatt card, but again, the free night only happens after your anniversary with a card and has a lower sign-up bonus, which requires a lot of spend to take advantage of. Although Hyatt points are worth much more, given the system they use has a narrower band for different hotel categories. Alright, so now that this channel is generating some form of income and turning into a small business cards are definitely on the table. That said, even if you have a small side job, sell on Etsy or eBay, or mow lawns, you probably qualify for business cards already as a sole prop. So last year, I got the Chase Ink Unlimited for its 60,000 point sign-up offer, which has been bumped up to 90,000, as well as it being a no annual fee card that I can keep open forever, and its baseline 1.5 times points on all of the spend, which completes the alternative Chase trifecta. And now that I'm almost done hitting the minimum spend, I could consider another business card, especially if I want to upgrade some equipment, get more lights, upgrade the camera to something like the A7 IV and get new lens. And with that, I have cards in mind like the Chase Ink Cash, which gives you the same sign-up bonus after spending $6,000 in the first 3 months, which also comes with 5% cashback or 5 times points in categories like office supply stores, internet, cable, and phone services, as well as 2 times points on gas stations and restaurants every year. It's also a no annual fee card to keep open forever. The other option is go the Amex route to complete the Amex trifecta with the Blue Business Plus card, which has no annual fee, not that great of a sign-up bonus, but will give you 2 times Amex points on all of your spend, up to $50,000 of spend every year. Now my spend is way lower than $50,000, especially on the business side, so there's no issue there. Now between a Sapphire card, the Amex Gold, a hotel card, and maybe a business card, that'll push me over 10 or 11 cards and more than I've ever opened in a year. Now like I mentioned earlier, you do not need to get this many cards in a short amount of time to get outsized value from your cards. You should analyze your own lifestyle and spend to determine which cards to get, using videos like these to help inform your decisions. That said, a year is a long time and new cards can pop up here and there. For example, Citi, who filed a trademark for a Strata line of cards, which could be their re-entrance into competing in the premium credit card space. Other cards like the Capital One Saver One could also be an interesting add, with its pretty significant 3 times on dining, entertainment, some streaming, and grocery stores. Those are some really common categories with no annual fees. Or I can get the Built MasterCard, which earns me points whenever I pay rent, which in a high cost of living city could mean $2,000 or 2,000 points every single month. So to learn more about no annual fee credit cards, go on and check out this video to either start or continue your credit card journey. See you over there.